Welcome to the explainer. AI is supposed to be this huge game changer, right? But for a lot of companies, it's turning into more of a headache. So today we're going to dig into why so many AI projects are just fizzling out. And more importantly, we'll talk about a new kind of playbook that can actually connect that big ambition to real-world results. Here's what we've got on tap. We're going to start with the big problem, what we're calling the AI execution gap. Then we'll get into the people side of things, because it's always about people, right? We'll look at what happens when old school rules just don't work anymore. And then we'll lay out a whole new playbook for this new era. And stick around because we'll finish with some real practical steps you can take. All right, let's just dive right in. What is the fundamental issue we're seeing everywhere? Well, it really boils down to this massive disconnect between the promise of AI and the messy reality of getting it to work. We're calling it the execution gap. So get this, according to some eye-opening data from the Project Management Institute, that's PMI, nearly half of all organizations, 45%, feel like their long-term survival is literally on the line if they don't innovate. The pressure is on, big time. But here's the reality check. That same PMI data shows a pretty shocking number. Only 18% of project managers have the business savvy needed to actually turn all that cool tech into something that creates real strategic value. And that right there, that highlights the whole issue. This isn't really a technology problem, it's an execution gap. It's this giant chasm between wanting to be innovative and actually having the skills, the structure, and the know-how to do it. And a huge reason for that execution gap comes down to people. Specifically, it's about how different people in your organization think about and react to risk. This is a human challenge long before it's ever a technical one. So if you're going to lead any kind of AI initiative, it's absolutely crucial to understand the 4 basic risk attitudes you're going to run into. Knowing these is like having a secret decoder ring for navigating the human side of all this change. Okay, this table, this is gold. It's basically a field guide to the people in your office. Seriously, think about your team right now. You've got the risk-averse person, right? The one who says, but this is how we've always done it. Then you've got the risk-seeking person, the super enthusiastic one who's all about high risk, high return, but maybe forgets to read the fine print. Figuring out who's who is the very first step to building a team that can actually make change happen. So let's see how all these different attitudes can bubble up and create a much, much bigger problem for the whole organization. That terrifying moment when your entire system of rules and governance just breaks. Think about it. All the governance models we've relied on for decades, the approval chains, the oversight committees, they were all designed for decisions made at human speed. They just can't keep up with AI, and that mismatch creates all sorts of new, scary risks. This quote right here just gets to the absolute heart of it. Let me give you a real-world example. An automated system between finance and procurement just stopped working. The technology itself was fine, but the organization fell apart. Why? Because nobody owned the process from end to end. So when things went wrong, escalations just sat there for days. The system was built without a plan for when it would inevitably fail. And this leads us to a really critical point, the complete breakdown of our most trusted safety net for these kinds of automated systems, the good old human in the loop. The old way of doing human in the loop, where a person just rubber stamps whatever the AI spits out, is basically obsolete. It just doesn't scale. Oversight can't be an afterthought anymore. It has to be designed into the workflow, with smart, risk-based flags that bring a person in only when they're truly needed. And this poll really just drives the point home, doesn't it? When people were asked how to make human-in-the-loop AI better, what was their answer? It wasn't get more experts. Nope. They wanted better systems. They wanted ethical reviews and clear governance. The folks on the ground know that it's the framework itself that's broken. So, okay. We've established that the old way of doing things is broken. So, what do we do instead? The answer is a totally new playbook, and it's built on a pretty surprising idea. In the world of AI, structure is actually what lets you move fast. This quote captures the new mindset just perfectly. We have to stop thinking about governance, risk, and compliance, GRC, as some kind of bureaucratic bottleneck. It's not. It's the guardrails. It's what gives your teams the confidence and the safety to innovate at speed and scale. So let's break down the core ideas of this new playbook. First, GRC is what enables you to scale.
It's not the brake pedal, it's the chassis that lets you go faster because the risk is managed. Second, human review has to change from a passive final check to an active, built-in part of the workflow. And third, and this one is so important, ownership has to follow the entire journey, not just one little tool. That's how you close those accountability gaps that cause so many failures.
Okay, this all sounds really good, right? But where do you actually start? How do you take this playbook from theory and put it into action in your own company? Here's where the rubber meets the road. 5 practical things you can do. 1. Leadership has to define the business value first before you even think about buying a platform. 2. Governance needs to map out exactly who is accountable for every single automated decision. 3. Your delivery teams have to design those escalation paths from day one, not after something's already on fire. And finally, security and audit need to look at risk across the whole supply chain and demand proof that your systems are safe. So, what's the big takeaway here? Success with AI isn't really about buying the shiniest new technology. It's about building the right organization around it. It's about designing a system of governance, accountability, and trust that empowers your people to lead with confidence. The question isn't whether AI is coming for your job, it's whether you're building the playbook to lead the people who are going to use it.